Well, 2015 is the end of the first stage of the implementation of the world-adopted Millennium Development Goals. My host today says, quote, "The dividends of being an independent state with continuously rising standard of living will not be delivered by the year 2015. End of quote. Well, hello and welcome. This is 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajetumobi. I thank you for joining me on the program today. Now, on the occasion of the 53rd anniversary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my host today says the present leadership can still make a difference if it can push politicking to 2015 and face the economy now. Especially as he says, our discontinuity cannot promote sequential growth and the development required by the country. Now, how much discontinuity do we have? He says it is evident from the fact that since our return to democracy in 1999, one political party has been in power at the federal level, yet each of the parties' three presidents have introduced three different economic doctrines. The first, the National Economic Empowerment Development Strategy NEEDS by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. The second, the 7-point agenda by the late President Musa Yar'Adua. And the third, by the current President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, Vision 2020. What is the prognosis for the Nigerian economy? Join me after the break. I'm counting down 60 minutes with Sheriffdeen Tella, a professor of economics at the Olabisi Onabanjo University, and that's in Agoiwoye in Ogun State, the southwest region of Nigeria. He's also the director of Center for Continuing Education at the same university and a former vice chancellor of Crescent University, Abeokuta, also in Ogun State, and he is the vice president of the Nigerian Economic Society. Welcome back. Welcome, Professor Tella. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's start with your message in my introduction. I talked of the dividends of being an independent state with a continually rising standard of living not being delivered by the year 2015. Your second message, our discontinuity in economic policies in spite of the same party producing three presidents since 1999. So that's two messages there. Let's talk about the first one, not being delivered by 2015. That's heartbreaking.
The price of oil since 1999
yes,
has been going up, or has been stable for some time now. And we have been getting lots of money from oil. So that is why we talk about economic growth rising. If we have actually used the money, we have invested it in developing other sectors, the level of poverty that we have now will not arise.
right.
So because we have not been investing it for the past 12 years, it is very clear that we cannot start investing it in 2 years, which is between now and 2015, and see if we are going to achieve anything. So what one was saying actually is that it's not possible to achieve a miracle in economic matters within 2 years. So it's difficult to say that we are going to reduce now the level of poverty drastically.
Yes.
More so when we know that in spite of the growth that we are talking about, there's also increase in unemployment, which should not be.
Right.
It's a new phenomenon in economics where you have economic growth rising,
yes,
and then unemployment also rising.
So we're changing the rules of economics
now.
now.
Although it's not only in Nigeria, it's all over the world. Those things
right.
are happening, but
right.
you know, in Nigeria it shouldn't have happened at all if you have been doing the right thing.
And your second message, in spite of the same party producing three presidents since 1999, there's been no continuity in economic in our economic process.
Actually, the normal economy,
yes.
you find that they have a plan. Even if you have party A, party B coming in, the goal, the target is the same.
Yes.
They want to follow that target and achieve the ultimate objective. They might achieve it through different routes, just like in the US.
Yes.
When Republicans come, when they come in, they have their own route through which they want to continue to achieve economic growth and development. When the Democrats also come in, they are achieving the same objective through some other means.
But the same destination.
The same destination.
Right.
Here we don't have any destination. That is why you find a party should have its own goal and should have its own plan that, well, this is the route through which we want to achieve this goal.
Right.
But if you have the same party for the number of years we have, with 3 different presidents of the same party, bringing in new economic plan, it simply means that there's not been any plan before. So I think that, that's not right for a country that wants to make progress, a country that wants to develop. And so it is important for us to now see whether it is this 2020 that we want to pursue.
Yes.
Even if we are going to extend it to 2030,
yes,
it's okay, but we know that is what we are pursuing.
Yes.
Rather than somebody coming in today doing something else, another one coming in tomorrow. Even if tomorrow another party comes in.
Yes.
Once we have adopted the 2020 project as transformation program, we follow it through.
That new party must follow through with the vision of that.
It is a national plan.
Yes.
But the way another party will look at this, that is that party's plan.
Yes.
Because not everybody was involved.
Okay, so from what you've said now, let's look at it this way. Was there anything wrong with former President Obasanjo's needs plan that warranted the late President Yar'Adua to change it, and also warranted this current president from not even considering any of those two?
Actually, there was nothing wrong with that plan. It was a short-term plan, really, which was expected to terminate even after Obasanjo, maybe 2 years after Obasanjo. So the late President Yar'Adua have concluded that one, and then they will extend it. Right. But I think that they did not conceptualize it as our own national program, national planning for the economy.
In other words, when President Obasanjo came up with needs,
yes,
the whole party didn't embrace it.
Yes, that's why, because if it is embraced, the party will continue to pursue it. Now what they now do is to extend it beyond that period. It's short term, because it's for 4 years.
Yes.
So you can extend it to 8 years by bringing in some new things. So it will now be included in Vision 2020.
Okay.
Some elements of that needs are also part of 7-point agenda.
Right.
They are also part of the 2020, but the emphasis are just different.
Right.
Because what Obasanjo was trying to do was all encompassing, as it were. But before they came in, the party should have a plan. There was no plan, and because Nigerians don't have a plan, so anything can happen.
And you've talked about plan. From reading your article, which was published on our Independence Day, October 1, 2013, did I detect a tinge of regret or sadness that we no longer have these national development plans, that the first of which we had immediately after independence?
Yes, the plan that we used to have was also medium term, 5 years. Yes. These days, people go for 20 years plan, 10 years minimum plan. So,
do you think that's a positive or a negative?
No, when you have it, it's positive because it's what you want to pursue.
Right.
And so you continue to pursue it. But that was truncated by adoption of structural adjustment program, which was IMF World Bank program that they just pushed on African countries, and they accepted it. And that was a short-term plan of 2 years. The IMF plan was just to recover their debt from many of the developing countries that were owing them. So we shouldn't have truncated our own plan because of that.
Yes.
But that's what we did. And since that time, we have been having rolling plans. After the rolling plan, this one now came, but the Vision 2020 is supposed to be a long-term plan, as it were.
Do you think everybody has embraced it?
No, nobody. That's why I said that when another party comes in, they will want to do something else. Whereas, if it has been done transparently, because it started during the time of Yar'Adua,
yes,
the planning was there, but the government should have involved everybody and make sure that all parties were, will be involved. It will be from the grassroots and all that, not that people planning from the top and expected it to be. So that is just the shortcoming. But it can be extended, it can be taken as a national. What is important is that now that we have a kind of a conference coming up, maybe it could be part of the discussion.
Right, the national conference.
Yeah, they should be able to sell that Vision 2020 as, you know, the national plan for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years, for the next 25 years. And by the time you look at the list of those who are involved in the plan, you see that it's not basically the politicians.
Right.
They are mainly the technocrats and the academics. So cut across Nigerians. The only thing is acceptability. So we have to sell that vision and let people follow it through.
Would it help this administration or the president if perhaps it is passed into law as a law that this vision 2020 is the direction Nigeria is going, so that anyone who is coming after him will maintain us on that path?
That is the basic thing. The 2020 is not backed by any law.
Right. And
what's happened in other countries that when you have a national plan, it's backed by law. So that the people in the assembly, they are also part of it. The assembly. So it would be nice if it can be sold and can be adopted as a, you know, as the plan.
Yes.
Because when you look at the content of that Vision 2020, you see that it's far-reaching, it's long-term, and can be adopted. So to adopt it now, there must be a law that will be passed. Right. And to make sure that law is passed, this is the opportunity for the president to sell the product, that is Vision 2020, to the National Assembly.
Okay. So
that at the end of the day, once it's adopted, everybody will look at it from that angle and not of, oh, this belongs to a particular party.
Yes, everybody will own it.
Yes,
so
it will be owned by everybody, yes.
Okay. Is there anything missing in this Vision 2020 that perhaps some people will say has been overlooked, and that if brought in would make it all-encompassing?
Well, for now, you cannot say this is missing, this is not missing.
Yes.
It's a comprehensive document, as it were. But there's no comprehensive document that does not have its own faults. It is when you start debating, when you start discussing it, that you now say, oh, this is a loophole and this is what we should do. Also, when you are implementing, and there's what we call monitoring of the implementation, you also need to see something that you have to change, because a plan also has the international component.
Right.
So as the international economy is changing, you also have to change some of those things. So once there's monitoring, there's provision for monitoring, and it's there.
Yes.
Provision for monitoring is there. So once it's monitored, and then you say that, okay, we need to change this, we change it. Yes, it shouldn't be Jonathan's document at all. Okay. It should be owned by Nigerians.
All right, let's talk about the role of the central bank now, and that of the central bank governor, and of course the Minister for Finance as well, the way they are managing the economy. Economically though, are they pursuing policies that you think are detrimental to the economic growth of this country and the public welfare of people?
When you look at the central bank policies, they are okay.
Right.
Sometimes the implementation may not be okay.
What do you mean by implementation may not be okay?
Yeah, you know, when the central bank governor goes about doling out money, you know, without approved budget, as it were, it's not good enough. That's extra budgetary spending, which is part of what we call fiscal indiscipline,
right,
which is very rampant in Nigeria, as it were.
When people say that, I think to myself, why would he be donating money if it is against the law? Because
there is no law that holds him back from doing that.
Right.
So he can do it, but he has to use his discretion to know when to donate and when not to donate. There should be a way by which the National Assembly should look at its budget, not the way they were pursuing it before, because it was when they were pursuing the governor rather than the institution.
It looked vindictive.
Yes. So just let us see your budget. Let us make some comment on it. Not that we have to approve this and that and all those things.
Yes.
And from there, they can make suggestions on it. They can also pass a law on how he can disburse his money. No, not that you say because of corporate responsibility you have to donate this. There must be clear justification, and you must make sure that that money you are putting in the economy is not going to run the economy down in terms of having excess liquidity, you know, somewhere.
But some people say that over-regulation of the CBN will also be counterproductive. Sometimes he needs to take a decision without running or waiting for the National Assembly to approve.
Yeah, I agree with independence of the central bank, but independence also has limitation. That is not regulation of it. Is, you know, you make suggestions. You also tell him how to spend some money. You are not telling him how to run the monetary policy.
Yes.
Nobody is saying that, oh, you must bring this money back and then let us seek approval before you spend it.
Do you think, you know, he's spending unilaterally? After all, there is a board that takes decisions.
Who is the chairman of the board? The governor is the chairman of the board. And you find that when you are in the board,
yes,
particularly in Nigeria, sometimes you want to follow what the chairman is saying so that they don't throw you out.
Yes. You don't want to be seen to be hostile to your chairman.
Yes, so I think that is why they need some extra judicial body to also tell them that these are the things that they should do.
Do you support those who say that the CBN governor is allowing the naira to be devalued, and as long as that is going on, the economy will also be devalued?
It will not be in the interest of any governor of central bank to allow his domestic currency to devalue, as it were.
Right.
But you will still have to meet some obligations. Recently, the central bank has been trying to actually prop up the naira.
Right. Because the governor has said he will do everything to make sure that the naira is propped up.
Yes, and stabilizes at a particular, and that's why they have been running down the reserve.
Right.
So that now take more money, more of Federal to put in the market and allow the. So it's not actually running down the naira reserve. But we have to query the payment that we are making. That is making the naira relationship with naira to go down. Is it based on imports? What are we importing? Are we importing food? Are we importing raw materials? We must, central bank must continuously be in the forefront of carrying out research to know what the money is being used for. And also there must be verification that what is being requested for is what is being
what the money is being used for.
But we must also note that the government itself is also spending unnecessarily. Particularly with all these travels that they travel, somebody going out and taking 30 people around, 30 people, it's a lot of money. And so that one also will have a pressure.
All right, we'll take our first break now. When we come back, we'll start off from the points that you've made now, fiscal indiscipline, and the fact that it seems to me from what you're saying that sometimes the CBN has to act given the circumstances it is presented with. Yeah. So join us again after the break.
Sabi better thing. Abi who no like better thing? All these fine things where they see so. Now money government they take do now. Abi, I say it's like, I mean, excuse me, I dey pay my tax. I dey do it thing, I dey pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. Have you pay your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, it's 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajitumobi. On my hot seat today, Professor Sheriffdeen Tella, a professor of economics. Now, before we went on the break, you were talking about fiscal indiscipline. It seems to me that sometimes the CBN governor knows certain facts, but his hands are tied. For instance, if the president is going on his travels and he's taking 30, 100, 600 people, whatever the numbers may be, the CBN governor surely can't tell him not to travel, especially as we're made to understand that all these travels are to look for investments.
Well, the CBN governor has to deal with monetary policy.
Right.
The fiscal policy has, belongs to the Minister of Finance. That's our own area. So she's the one to tell the Mr. President that we have exhausted the budget on travel.
Right. We can't afford this.
Or we are about exhausting the budget on travel, so we can't afford this. But
yes,
if she cannot say so,
yes,
the problem hasn't got anything to do with the governor of Central Bank. It has to do with the management of the economy by the Minister of Finance.
Okay.
But I think some of those travels will have been budgeted for, because some of them are statutory, that we know. Some of them will not be statutory. But the number of people going, may not have been budgeted for. So there's need to warn in time that, well, if you are going on this trip, this is the amount that is available.
Right.
So they have to cut according to that. But I think that is part of the problem that we have in the economy, because now the economy is, we cannot say this is the state of the economy for now. And that is because of all those spending that were not actually in the budget.
Right.
And that's why I said there's fiscal indiscipline. Why is everybody going to China? If you are doing well, people will come to you. You will not be the one running after anybody. They want to come and invest in the economy because you have the population also, which is a big market for anybody that wants to produce.
Yes, but they do say that if you don't make noise about yourself, nobody will know about you.
Well, people know about Nigeria. We can advertise on CNN as many banks do and all those things. So you don't need to go out. So we have to discipline ourselves first. When you discipline yourself, people will know. Nigeria is not a banana country where people don't know about. They know Nigeria, so you don't need to. It's just for us to get our house together, and you see investment coming in on its own.
Okay, so this mopping up naira in circulation, some people are so much against it. They say it's placing the naira in difficulty. Is it wrong for the CBN every month to release that statement saying, oh, they're mopping up excess liquidity?
Well, when you talk of excess liquidity, it simply means that the floating money that is not required, because when you don't mop up, it puts greater pressure on your reserve.
Right.
It means that people can now transfer the money, they can do what they like with the money without actually accounting for it. So there's nothing wrong in mopping up liquidity in the banking system. I think what we don't know about is that a lot of people are keeping money outside the central bank itself. What
is wrong with keeping money outside the central bank system?
It creates problem with monetary policy implementation.
Right.
Because
you don't know the exact money you have.
Yes, you know the amount of money that you have put in the economy, but you don't know where they are.
Okay.
And that creates a serious problem.
If money is under my bed, for instance, there's no way for the figures to be tracked.
No, yes. So that's the basic problem. If you want to implement monetary policy and your financial system is good, it makes it easier for you to mop up the liquidity or to increase the liquidity depending on what should be in the economy at any point in time. Many people are keeping money not under the pillow anymore. Like I said, many of them have faults because they
built in the house.
Yes, because they cannot take that money to the bank. EFCC will know because there's a certain amount that you must have, that you must put in the bank, that the bank should not notify EFCC.
Right.
So now, because of that, people now keep a lot of money,
raw cash
at home, either in dollars. Now that they are changing dollars, the $100 is being changed now.
Yes.
You will see a lot of people now traveling abroad to go and they then be asking them where they got that money. The only thing is that under their own democracy, it takes a long time before the money is
mopped up.
If they say, okay, we are now changing dollar, we are giving you 3 months, you will see many Nigerians will be in trouble because they have stopped this and they just take it whenever they need it.
Yes. All right, let's talk about diversification of our economy and the fact that non-oil sectors, according to you, contribute less than 20% of revenue. But you say that the industrial sector is shrinking and the agricultural sector remains virtually static, leading to a high level of youth unemployment. But if we listen to the Minister for Agriculture, what you're saying, that it remains virtually static, that's not what he's saying. He speaks of a vibrant agricultural sector.
Well, I've listened to the minister. I don't know whether he's getting his information from officers on the field or from officers in the office.
Yes.
Because when there is agricultural transformation, nobody will tell you that it exists.
It will be obvious.
Yes, it will be obvious. Even in your state, you will see it. I have not seen it in my state, so I don't know where that is happening. And in the north, where it could happen, all this uncertainty is creating serious problem there.
Terrorism.
In fact, I pity Nigeria. I don't know how we are going to bring back the economy in those areas. I just hope that the leaders there will sit down and say, well, we are in trouble, we have to stop this thing. Because the man has been talking of generating a lot of employment, generating this and that, increasing
millions of jobs generated through agriculture.
And all that. I don't know. Maybe they have to give us the statistics on per state and the location of projects and all those things.
Yes.
What you could have done, which could be okay, is that we have been able to reduce incidents of people getting money for fertilizer that has not been supplied, and that so we can get those things supplied and all those things.
Yes.
That's okay. But in terms of the output, whether they have problem with distribution, I don't know. In terms of the output, I've not seen the output really. And like I said, I'm from Ogun State. I do pass through some of these agricultural estates that have been there all along. I've not seen any, much changes.
Increase in activity.
In fact, some staff that are jobless, they have gone to agriculture to produce, but they're still doing it on the small scale thing.
The subsistence level.
Yes. If not, why should we still be importing rice? If not because yam cannot be planted abroad, we would have been importing yam, but we are importing most of the finished goods. We are importing even raw goods, and which is not good enough for the economy. I pity the minister because I saw him and I could see sincerity in him. But I think there is need for him to also have a team that will go to the field and ascertain that this is what is happening on the field. We should be able to have statistics per state, location of where these increases are, and all those things.
Yes.
How much being generated in terms of employment per state, per local government if it's possible. So we start generating all this. Fortunately, the Bureau of Statistics is now generating micro data, that is data from local. So we should be able to get those data. Maybe with that, it too will be able to see. And sometimes, I don't know, if you not stay in Abuja, sometimes you can just drive around a state
by himself
and stay and see what is going on.
Yes.
If they say that the roads are bad, well, it's still the government, so you'll be able to say, yes, I passed through that road and I saw that it's bad. So maybe something will be done.
We were all aware that at midnight on September 30th, that's going into 1st of October, the Tuesday, the U.S. government experienced a shutdown, and that shutdown began on the day that the U.S. government began its new budget year. So let's hold that fact on one side. Coming back to Nigeria, can we say we too were having a shutdown? And I'm asking you that question because it has come out now that states have not received revenue from the Federation account for the last 3 months. Here is Governor Kayode Fayemi speaking with me recently in Ekiti, where he reiterated that fact.
Over the last 3 months, we've had a huge shutdown, if you like, in federal allocation system. Our commissioners of finance have had to work out 3 times in the last 3 months in FAC allocation sharing meetings, simply because the resources put on the table in the Federation account did not match the projections that had already been worked out between the states and the federal government.
Now, in the first week of October, Edo State Governor Oshiomhole says, I'm quoting him now, I don't know if the federal government is broke, but I know there is a serious crisis and it is unprecedented in the history of this country. For the first time since 1999, allocations can no longer come as and when due to the states. I have been involved in trying to understand what the reasons are, and I have not seen anything yet. Whether we use the word broke or you deny the word broke, the truth is that there is a financial crisis in Nigeria which has very serious national security implications. End of quote. So, are we experiencing a shutdown like America?
The American shutdown is quite different from our own.
Right.
It has to do with budgetary disagreement, as it were. Although it has implications for the world economy, because the American economy is #1 and it influences other economies around the world.
Right.
And that's why some other countries have also been saying that America should not allow itself to shut down totally, because it will bring about a problem concerning employment generation, affect income, so the labor market will be disrupted, and once the labor market is disrupted, it also has effect on some other countries.
Yes.
But it's not as if America is broke, as it were, but it's part of the budget system that you want to do this. What we call the fiscal cliff, as it were,
yes,
is a redesigning of the laws governing expenditure. Concerning Obama wants to have a situation in which he can increase tax.
Right.
By increasing tax of the people at the top, they will have more money.
Right.
The fiscal cliff actually means increasing tax so as to generate more revenue and reducing expenditure. But he's not into reducing expenditure because he believes that reducing expenditure will still affect the labor market. So that is the disagreement between them. Now he wants to increase tax for the people at the top. He also wants to spend more.
He doesn't want to reduce what he's going to spend.
Yes, he believes that by increasing the tax, it will still reduce the deficit that they are talking about. But the Republican, on the other hand, are thinking that, oh, if you increase tax, it affects us really.
Yes.
But why are you not going to reduce your own spending too?
Yeah.
But we are far removed from America. We are far removed from
Ours
America.
is not the same story.
Yeah, it's not the same story. Our own story, the way I look at it, is that we are broke.
You think we're broke?
I think so. I think that we are broke. If you are not broke, it shouldn't be like this. Why I say so is that, you see, when you say you have sovereign wealth fund,
right,
it means that whenever you have excess, you keep that excess there. When there is shortfall, you use part of the excess that you have kept to offset part of the shortfall.
To show it up.
To show it up. And so even if there is shortfall, maybe our debtors, those who bought whom we sold oil to,
yes,
are not paying back as required. So there will be shortfall in money coming in. Then you use the sovereign wealth fund to to offset part of that shortfall. Pending when you're paid. Yeah, when that will come in, and then you can always refill back, as it were. To me, if the sovereign wealth fund has been there, it shouldn't get to a situation whereby the Ministry of Finance will be playing games for 3 months, not paying the states.
But they are not admitting that they are playing games.
You cannot admit like that, openly like that, because you create a panic in the economy, as it were. I can say it because I'm not Minister of Finance. The Minister of the Governor of Central Bank has said that we are broke. The Minister of Finance said no, we are not broke. That's the work of the two of them. The work of the Minister of Finance to show that the economy is not broke, because it creates panic, as it were. Right. But I believe that if you are not broke, sincerely, the sovereign wealth fund should be the one that will be using now to at least make things working for some time until we start getting returns from our debtors. So is the sovereign wealth fund depleted? That's what it looks like. It may not be totally, it will not be zero, because it still have some things have to continue to go on. Yes. It's like a state too. I don't think a state should be in a position that will not be able to at least pay salaries of its workers for 6 months when you have this kind of problem. But some states, they are eating from, every time they get money, they spend it. It's not good enough. It's not good accounting process. Right. And this is but when you say it's not good accounting process, what is the point of a state saving money when there's so much still left to be done? Why would I be saving? I need to do roads, I need to do hospitals, I need to, forget, not salaries now, deliverables. If you have to do all that, why are you saving? Some of those things are talking about their capital projects. Right. For capital projects, you don't need to use a monthly allocation for that. You go to the capital market and borrow money for it. Right. And if they find that you are spending the money properly, you are credible, they will still give you money, you still raise funds from that, for that purpose. Right. So the monthly allocation should not be what you spend. You don't spend everything, as it were, because most of the states rely more on allocation from federal government. They don't generate their own internally, which is also wrong. You have to generate money internally, and how do you do that? It's not only by tax, because you find that if you are going to rely on tax, only a segment of the population in the state will be paying tax, because the large proportion of people are in the informal sector and you don't pay tax. You don't capture them. You don't capture them, because our tax system, we have to work on it to make sure that we're able to get as many people as possible into the tax net, which is not. But because we have free money. Just like Nigeria too has free money, we depend on rent, so we are not producing, as it were. Producing simply means that you are producing goods on your own, not that you are living on natural rent, that people are going to pay tax, they are going to pay this and all that. No. You have to go into production, either agricultural production or industrial. I always say that I don't believe in planting cassava emas and then sending them abroad because you want to earn foreign exchange. No. You must make sure that cassava there's value added to that cassava. In what way? That is, there must be industry that will process the cassava before you send them out. The value goes up. So when it's processed. Yes, what you get is higher than when you are just sending raw cassava out. So that's the basic thing. But we are not into that. All we are thinking of, there's a market for cassava and you send everything. What are they doing with those things? Because eventually they will return those things to us at higher prices, and we are going to pay for it. And that's what brings up industrialization. Right. So states can have small, medium-sized industry that will finance, to continue to use the raw materials and produce something out of it. In the excess of that will now sell out. Yes. If you don't have excess, you continue to consume it on your own. And at least that stops importation of
Yes.
those
goods.
Yes.
You talked about industrialization through the petrochemical sector.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
You see, we have two ways. We are very lucky. The crude oil that we are talking about, you have not less than 13, 14 other products that can come out of it.
Right.
So they can be on their industries on their own, and we generate money from that.
Right.
The gas also has the same value, because when you have refinery, it's not only the petrol that you generate.
There are other byproducts.
Yes. That you generate from that, and so that is what you know. Those are part of that's what I mean by petrochemical industry. The agricultural side is also there. We have not talked about that. And so if you are developing on that side, you also developing agriculture, definitely you make it. Look at the states generally.
Yes.
Why is Lagos State better than others? Because it's called industrialized state. Other ones are not industrialized. So if you go to America, the industrialized states, particularly those are the fringe of the continent.
Yes.
You know, they are more developed than others that are inside
in the middle.
In the middle.
Yes.
So because any industrialized state or industrialized country is industrialized, and the product must be, will be purchased, and then they make more money because they have added value to raw materials. So we should be thinking of how to industrialize rather than how to continue to be producers of raw materials. That is common for Africa generally. South Africa is better than us,
yes.
Not because it has oil, it has no oil, not because it has diamond, because it has diamond, but because it's an industrialized state.
All right, join us again after the break.
Government wants our city to become a mega modern city. And so, government is providing modern markets for us to carry out our business. Now, this requires money. So, we need to pay our taxes to help government to help us. I pay my taxes. I hope you've paid yours. Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
Welcome back. My concluding moments now with Professor Sheriffdeen Tella, a professor of economics at the Olabisi Onabanjo University in Agowoye, Ogun State, in the southwest region of Nigeria. Now, in relation to Nigeria being broke, the Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, appearing before the Senate Special Committee to defend the 2012 budget performance, said, and I'm quoting her now, "The country is absolutely not broke. The country may have cash flow problems from time to time. That is normal and is to be expected, because a person may be very wealthy, he may have a lot of assets, but at a particular point in time, that stream of income may delay." End of quote. What do you say to that?
It means that we have plenty of money that we're expecting. They are not, that money is not coming in. In September, when I look at the OPEC record
Yes.
of our production, we are producing 2.4 million barrels a day at $101 point something dollar per barrel. That's sort of money, and we have sold this out. So what we are expecting is the return that we don't have yet.
Why do we sell oil on credit? Is that the way it's done all over the world?
All over the world, it is. You don't get your money in time. Maybe 3 months, 6 months, depending on the agreement that you reach. It's assumed that by the time some money are falling due being paid, another one
It's already been sold.
So they come in streams, and so it's always there, as it were. So
Yes.
I think she's right with the statement that if you are looking at our assets, we are not broke, but there's cash flow problem. So the cash flow problem is what I said that would have been solved with sovereign wealth fund if the money is actually there.
So can we conclude that there is nothing in the sovereign wealth fund to shore up this?
You cannot say sovereign wealth fund is zero. You cannot also say that our money is zero. The only thing that they now have to prioritize, what do we service first? And so that is what is happening.
Right.
So as the federal government is expecting to continue to make some payments, they also expect the states to be able to make some payments over time before they now get the money. And that is the way it is.
When they eventually resolve, will they backdate? If they've been owing me for 3 months,
Yes.
will I get all the monies I've been entitled to in the last 3 months?
Yes, once they have the money, that's how it should be.
Okay.
That's how it should be. In fact, they should pay interest
On the money.
because the banks are prepared to pay interest, as it were. But even if they don't pay interest, the money will be paid. But they should also envisage this problem of cash flow.
Yes.
And like I said, that's why they created the sovereign wealth. There was sort of rank on that, even among the states. Say, no, you cannot do it. But there's a provision in the constitution that allows the federal government to run the economy in such a way that will be beneficial to the economy. So that's why they cannot go to court and say they want to win.
Okay.
But that money should be...
It's a discretionary decision on the part of the federal
government.
Yes.
And that's what they use to tell them that, well, we can keep this money as long as it's beneficial.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, you talked about the 1975 purge in the civil service by the late Muritala Mohammed and the former president Obasanjo. You said it robbed the federal government of the quality and sincere advice from the bureaucracy. Yeah. Is that a feature that endures till today? Do you think that that is a mindset that today's civil servant still carries and still prevents today's civil servant from giving that quality advice?
Not really, you know. What happened that time was a big shock. And when you have that kind of situation, it has ripple effects. Since that time, the bureaucracy has never been what it was. And people now find that it's better to play ball and get along.
Yes.
And so people have started imbibing that culture. And during the time of Babangida, you realize that they also politicized the position of a permanent secretary as it were. And that created additional problem.
Yes.
That made the bureaucracy to be like a dassica, you know. When you start promoting people below, over and above those who are their seniors, it creates problem.
It demoralizes people.
Yes, whereas you know some states are trying to do something now by asking that you know you go for exam and you know when you do exam,
you pass,
you pass. It means that before you can do exam, you go for training also. So they go for training, they do exam. When you pass, then you move on. But you know a situation whereby people are just promoted anyhow. Because that's what happened thereafter. Before they have their code of conduct, they follow their code of conduct. These days, I think at that time people they have a book that they call G something. You know, it's for civil service. Everybody knows it. When you come in, they give you your own copy. You
go and read
nobody
it.
reads anything anyhow. They don't know anything anyhow. So that time created its own problem. Then the Babangida regime, where he now introduced politics into the position of a permanent secretary, created another problem, and that has subsisted today. Okay. If you go to the ministry, you see some people that know what they are doing technically. Yes. You talk to them, but you find that they are below the ladder.
They are buried.
Yes, under, and so they cannot perform optimally at that level. Because somebody who can smile well, with the boss will go up or just okay. Let me remain here. When I finish at least I'll get my entitlement and go away. So that has persisted, and I don't know where we are going to change that anyway. Because
I was going to say, how are we going to restore that culture, that vibrancy, the commitment that we need to restore that quality advice?
Yeah, it's through the in-service training and making sure that it's those people who pass that move on. So people start getting the message that quality is very
mago in there.
Quality is very important. So it's very easy to, it's just a matter of making sure that you put things in proper perspective.
Yes.
When you are getting to a particular level, you must go for exam. Before the exam, they will have trained you. When you do exam, you pass, you move on. Those who don't do well, they stay back. After some time, you go back and do this thing. If you do it 3 times and you don't go, you leave the service.
You move away.
Yes, that's it.
An area you touched on was the spirit of nationalism. You said the effect of bad governance, especially as citizens lose the spirit of nationalism. Is that why we see only those in government seem to be the only patriotic people there, those outside government who, so to speak, don't gain anything from the democracy, are not really patriotic?
Well, when you see the leadership performing, even if they are not they are not doing well.
Yes.
But you know that they are trying their best and they are sincere. You want to say, these are things, let us see what we can do about it. Everybody will be. Because even when you say that people in government are patriotic, you cannot even say that they are patriotic. Is it patriotism to the nation or patriotism to their pockets? So I think that it's because the condition is not good and you don't see your government, working hard to make sure that things are good. Because imagine education, other institution down. Is it as they are paying? It's not as they are paying. ASU president is not going to receive a kobo. We are saying give money to the university to develop. So it is the council of university that will get this money and they will submit proposal that these are the things we want to do.
Yes.
So the third fund or the NUC will now come up and say, well, we have seen what you have done. If you go to some university, you will see a lot of buildings by, on TED fund because they must put it there.
Yes.
So it means that that's what they have been relying upon.
TED fund is the tertiary institutions fund.
Yes, which was initiated by ASU itself. It was a contribution from the private sector into a fund. So you cannot ask them to come and contribute anything. When people say, oh, government cannot do everything, the government has not been doing everything. TED fund is from the private sector. Contribution of private sector to education fund.
Do you think those who are criticizing ASU for continuing to draw out this strike really understand the issues as you're explaining to us now?
They understand. By now, people who don't understand cannot understand again. Because we have been telling them that this money is not for us. Even there was an advert by ASU saying that the NUC, they are trying to get contracts out of the money they're supposed to give to the and ASU said it's not their business.
Yes.
It's the business of the council of the university to award the contracts and make sure that they monitor it. What the TED fund as an agency would do is to come and evaluate what they have done, whether
it matches up with the money they're spending.
So it's not nobody's asking. Even when they talk about we are giving them 30 million for. They say
they've given 130.
That 30 billion is for excess workload.
Yes.
It is those who did the excess workload that will get out of it, and that is not just lecturers. It's also non-academic staff. So it's not all lecturers that are due. I'm not due for such things, so I can't get a cover from it.
Yes.
So it is the university will now determine who are those that are entitled to such money. Okay, what stop the president say, okay, I want to meet these as people. Let us sit down and let us look at it.
Yes.
But he knows that even if he meets them, if he doesn't do what is necessary, because the decay in the university has been presented before him.
He knows about the decay now.
It was shown on a slide. And everybody, including himself, they were guys. Oh, so this is happening, but that's where I attended.
Still, no money came for the universities.
There was one old man, a military man, who is retired now.
Yes.
When this thing started, he said yes. He said he has done his postgraduate studies in the university, and he could not find toilets where he could use himself. So sometimes he had to go to the back of the bush and do that.
Suitable toilet.
Yes, and that's what happens here. That's what we are talking about.
No toilets in the universities?
Yes, when there are toilets, there won't be water. So you cannot use toilet without water. So people go about in the bush and do whatever they want.
So it's not a matter of just the lecturers going back to teach. The conducive environment for learning is not there.
It's not there. I have taught in Olabisi University for a long time. I've been there since 1983. I've been to ABU. I've taught in some other places, and the same thing everywhere. Even lecture rooms, in fact, some universities are still using blackboard. How can you be using
chalk?
Yes, how can you use that? Even in primary school, they should not be using it. And you will see that even when sometimes in the television or in paper, when the governor visits a school, you will see them still using blackboard, and they feel happy that they are using blackboard. At this age, one time I decided to go to a science lab in ABU.
Yes.
And I found nothing there, and I was aghast.
In the lab?
Yes. In fact, a colleague of us, came to staff club, was furious. He said, what is the problem, Prof? He said he went to buy mortar in the Kaduna market and pestle and brought it for his students who are doing practical chemistry. And said, what is this? He said, bowl, that is the mortar. Then what is this? Pounder, that is the pestle.
They don't know because they've never seen it.
When we were in secondary school, we were using the glass one. So why should anybody go to Kaduna market to go and buy something? So they never saw it. So the man he said that he just put the thing down and went to that. So 400 level, they don't know this and they want to graduate. And that's why it was
400 level.
Yeah. So that is the extent to which we are. Those things that have been there for long, people have used it many times. So they have broken many of them. So no replacement and all those things. And now you have more students than before.
Yes.
So something that 25 people used, now you have maybe 150 students using it. Definitely it will be, they will be having practicals many times. And that many of them will just say, well, what am I doing with the practical? That's why we do theory of practicals.
Theory of practicals?
Yes, and that is why those who have graduated from the university cannot teach practical in the secondary school. Because
they didn't actually do the practical.
They didn't do it.
What do you mean theory of practicals? You talk about what you imagine the practicals will do.
You see the drawing in the textbook.
Yes.
This is how it looks like and all those things.
Prof, this is very depressing.
No, that is what's happening there. So if the government is ready to put down the money, they also be ready to monitor the thing that these things are properly done. In fact, sometimes this money that you are talking about, you don't need to bring it to us.
Yes.
Say, okay, there's a company that is producing laboratory equipment.
Pay directly.
Make sure those things are supplied. Let the people in charge in the university sign that they are supplied.
Yes.
And then we continue to monitor it. That should also be part of the monitoring team so that we know that whatever is supplied is supplied, not that some people will carry them away and go and establish somewhere else. Those of us in the humanities, we can go to the internet and download information and write our papers.
Yes.
But those in the science cannot do so. And any country that is not in the science now is not part of this world.
It's not going to industrialize.
At all. At all.
Thank you very much, Professor Tella, for coming back on 60 Minutes with me.
Thank you too for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Well, from that depressing news from the professor, thank you very much for watching this week. Don't forget to like 60 Minutes with Angela on Facebook. Alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter, Angela at 60 Minutes. I'm Angela Ajitumobi. I thank you for the pleasure of your company.